Get your disgusting fat ass out of my shop. Blake Anderson didn't ask. He commanded. His voice hit like a slap before his hand did. He grabbed Aaron Foster by the shirt, trying to yank him out of Tony's barber chair. The chair barely moved. Aaron didn't. So Blake slapped him. Hard. The crack sliced through Tony's barbershop like thunder. Clippers froze. 8 customers gasped. Nobody moved. "You're taking up space real people need," Blake sneered, grabbing Aaron's belly with both hands and twisting cruelly. "Look at this. You're not even human. You're a walking health crisis." He snatched Aaron's magazine, spit on it, and slapped it back into his face. Aaron didn't flinch. His cheek glowed red, his eyes shimmered, but not from tears. Not yet. Behind the counter, Tony Johnson's hands trembled on his clippers. 26 years cutting hair, and never had he seen a man get slapped in his chair and just sit there. He didn't know it yet, but in 45 seconds, he would say 5 words that would make Blake drop to his knees and sob like a child. Because what Blake didn't know about Aaron Foster would ruin him. Aaron touched his cheek. The fingers didn't shake from fear. They shook from restraint. He looked at Blake through the mirror. Just for a second, Blake saw something ancient in those eyes. Dangerous. Then it vanished. "Blake," Tony's voice cracked. "That's enough." "I'm doing you a favor," Blake snapped, puffing up like a rooster. "This dude probably breaks your chairs." Jordan and Ryan laughed, nervous. Mrs. Patterson whispered, "Somebody stop this." Her husband muttered, "Stay out of it." A teenage boy in the corner stared at his phone, pretending not to film. Mr. George Perkins, 73, sat by the window, eyes sharp, lips tight. He'd seen this kind of ugliness before, and worse. Blake circled Aaron like a bully circling prey. "You know your problem? No self-control. Bet you eat 3 pizzas for breakfast. Can't even climb stairs without wheezing, and you're sitting here like you belong." He leaned close, breath sour with ego. "You don't belong." Aaron inhaled, slow, steady, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Tony's voice rose. "Blake, step back." "Or what? You'll call the cops?" Blake grinned. "I'm just talking, right, big man?" Aaron finally spoke, calm as ice. "Are you finished?" The smile slipped off Blake's face. "What?" "I asked if you're finished." "Finished? Nah, just getting started." Aaron nodded once. "Then do what you need to do." That line, it wasn't defiance, it wasn't surrender. It was something heavier, like Aaron had already forgiven him. And somehow, that shook Blake more than a punch ever could. Blake turned to the crowd. "You hear that? Big man's giving permission." He grabbed Aaron's wrist and lifted it mockingly. "Look at these fat fingers, can't even make a fist." Tony's stomach turned. Those weren't fat fingers. They were thick from bone and scar tissue, knuckles calloused like concrete, the hands of a man who'd broken things before. But Blake didn't see it. He poured Tony's aftershave over Aaron's head. The sting hit Aaron's eyes. He flinched, barely. "Blake!" Tony shouted, lunging forward, but Jordan blocked him. The teenage boy stood. "This is messed up." "Sit down, kid," Ryan barked. "This ain't right," the boy whispered. "You want some too?" Blake snapped. The boy froze, 16, scared, shaking. Mrs. Patterson wept quietly. Mr. Perkins finally spoke, his voice calm, deep, certain. "Young man, you're making a mistake." Blake turned, smirking. "Excuse me?" "A big one," Perkins said, "and you'll see why. Real soon." Blake laughed, but the sound rang hollow. For the first time all day, his confidence cracked. Because something in Aaron's stillness felt like the silence before an earthquake. Aaron wiped the aftershave from his face, eyes bloodshot but calm as ever. He looked at Blake through the mirror. "You done now?" Blake scoffed. "Yeah, not worth my time." Aaron nodded once. "Good. Then I have a question." Blake folded his arms, smirking. What? Can you be here next Saturday? 2 o'clock. The shop went dead silent. Even the clippers stopped buzzing. What? Blake frowned. Next Saturday, 2 o'clock, Aaron repeated. I want to show you something. Tony's pulse spiked. He knew that tone. The calm before a storm. Show me what? Blake taunted. You'll see, Aaron said softly. But I need you here. You, your boys, anyone who wants to watch. Blake's grin widened. Perfect. A week to build the hype. Bring cameras, crowd, whatever. I'll be here. What? You gonna fight me? Just be here. 2 o'clock. Blake tilted his head. And what happens if I show? Aaron's reflection locked eyes with him. Then everyone will see the truth. About me and about you. Blake laughed, loud and cruel. The truth? That you're a fat coward? Aaron's voice dropped to a whisper. Maybe? Or maybe something else. Blake blinked. Like what? Aaron stood, tall and steady. Come Saturday, and find out. The crowd exhaled all at once. Blake chuckled nervously, playing it off. All right, deal. But when you choke, you'll apologize to me, and everyone here. Aaron nodded. And if I'm wrong, I'll do the same. Blake thrust out his hand, mocking. Deal. Aaron took it. His grip was smooth, deliberate, strong enough to make Blake's smile twitch. Deal, Aaron said quietly, eyes unblinking. Tony stepped in fast. If this happens, it's by rules. Controlled sparring, gloves, headgear, first to 3 body shots or the first to quit. Blake waved him off. Whatever, old man. He'll quit in 30 seconds. Aaron just looked at him. Not angry, not scared, just certain. Blake turned toward the door, throwing a last smirk over his shoulder. Next Saturday, don't chicken out. I'll be here, Aaron said. When the door closed, silence lingered like smoke. The teenage boy spoke first. Mr. Tony, is he really gonna do it? Tony sighed. Yeah, he is. Blake's gonna destroy him, the boy muttered. Mr. Perkins chuckled under his breath. Son, that's what makes this interesting. Tony finished Aaron's haircut in silence. When he lifted the cape, Aaron stood up, effortlessly. No grunt, no struggle, just fluid, controlled movement. The kind that comes from discipline, not luck. He paid, left his usual tip. See you Saturday, Tony. You don't have to do this, Tony said quietly. I know. Aaron's eyes flicked to the teenage boy. But some lessons need witnesses. He walked out. Within minutes, the shop buzzed like a live wire. Phones came out, messages flew. By nightfall, half the neighborhood knew. By Sunday, everyone did. And when Saturday arrived, Tony's barbershop looked like a fight club. Crowd pressed against the walls, phones out, streaming live. Tony raised his hands for silence. Listen up. Controlled sparring, headgear, gloves, no hits above the shoulders. 3 clean body shots or first to quit. Break the rules. It's over. Clear? Crystal, Blake said, pulling off his tank top, lean, ripped, cocky. Aaron removed his sweatshirt. Underneath was a plain white t-shirt stretched over dense muscle. Not fat, not soft, just power buried under calm. Blake's grin faltered for half a second. Tony brought out borrowed gear. Blake strapped in like a pro. Aaron slipped into his gloves like muscle memory. No fumbling, no fear, just patience. The teenage boy whispered, "Something's off." What? Look at him. Big man's too calm. Aaron stood in the center, steady breathing, eyes clear, like a man who'd already decided how this would end. Jordan raised his phone. We're live. 3,000 watching. Blake, he said, say something. Blake faced the camera, mouthguard in hand, grin sharp as a blade. This is for everyone who thinks talk is free. Actions have consequences, Blake spat, rolling his shoulders. Big man's about to learn. He popped in his mouth guard, chest heaving, and pointed at Aaron. "Should have stayed home." Aaron said nothing, just adjusted his headgear, tested the strap, breathed once, slow and steady, like someone preparing for prayer, not war. Ryan cupped his hands. 2 minutes! Final bets! Bills and coins came out like a tide. 20 on Blake, 50 on Blake, 100 from the back. Only one hand moved differently. Mr. Perkins, the old man with kind eyes, slid a folded $50 to Mrs. Patterson. "Put this on Aaron," she blinked. "You're betting on the big man?" He smiled. "Not betting, investing in a guaranteed return. Blake's gonna finish him in a minute." Perkins leaned closer. "Then watch closely for the next 5. Tony, the barber and self-appointed referee, stepped into the center, palms raised. "Gentlemen, step forward." The crowd pressed closer. Phones rose. Sweat and heat thickened the room. Blake bounced in, light on his feet, muscles coiled like a spring. Aaron moved slowly, every motion deliberate, not tense, not afraid, just present. "Touch gloves. Keep it clean," Tony said. Blake slapped forward, half-hearted, already pulling away. Aaron's gloves met his, solid and respectful, a man's handshake before battle. The contrast was electric. One looked like a fighter, the other looked like peace-wearing gloves. Tony's hand dropped. "Go!" Blake lunged instantly. A jab snapped toward Aaron's chest, but Aaron wasn't there. Just a whisper of movement, a 6-inch shift, graceful and quiet. The glove cut air. Blake reset, threw a sharper 1-2. Aaron slipped the first, leaned away from the second. Neither touched him. "Stand still," Blake growled through his mouthguard. Aaron didn't answer. His breath was calm. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Same rhythm as cutting hair last week. Blake threw a hook. Aaron ducked, barely lowering his head. The glove whistled past his ear. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Aaron rose, unbothered. "Come on, big man," Blake taunted. "You gonna fight or dance?" Aaron's eyes stayed calm. His feet whispered over the floor. Small, controlled, beautiful. 30 seconds in, the crowd began to murmur. "Blake hasn't hit him once." "Yeah, but big man's not swinging either." "No, look at how he moves. That's not luck." 1 minute in, Blake's breathing was rough. His punches came faster, angrier. Aaron stayed untouchable, the stillness inside a storm. 2 minutes. Blake roared and threw a wild overhand right. The glove sliced the air within inches of Aaron's jaw, but never landed. Aaron could have ended it right there. The counter was wide open. He didn't take it. "Why isn't he punching back?" a kid asked. Mr. Perkins's voice was low, steady. "Because he doesn't need to." No one in that crowded shop knew who Aaron Foster really was. 12 years earlier, he was Aaron the Mountain Foster, 195 pounds of precision and power, 40 wins, 0 losses, no mercy, a man whose fists once decided fates. And tonight, those same fists were teaching the world what real power looks like, the strength to not use it. He'd been right there, one step from everything he'd worked his whole life for. A title eliminator, real money, real cameras, the fight that would finally put his name under lights instead of fluorescent bulbs. His manager had the contracts ready. His trainer slapped him on the back, grinning. "This is it, Mountain. Everything changes after this." And then everything changed, but not the way they meant. It was a Wednesday night, rain tapping against the window. Lisa screamed. Aaron ran, found her on the bathroom floor. Brandon lay there, 13 years old, motionless, pills scattered like confetti of despair. His son, his boy, face pale, lips trembling, a heartbeat fading. The next minutes were a blur. 911, sirens, a stretcher. The hospital smelled like bleach and fear. Aaron sat with his head in his hands as the Dr. S voice echoed. He S stable, for now. 6 hours, the longest of his life. He'd taken punches that broke ribs, been hit so hard his ears rang for days, but nothing compared to that silence, that waiting. When Brandon finally opened his eyes, Aaron broke down, not as a fighter, as a father realizing he'd nearly lost everything that mattered. The weeks that followed were worse. Therapy, medication, school meetings, endless questions. Aaron listened to his son describe what it felt like to be laughed at every single day, called fat, slow, worthless. Videos of him eating alone in the cafeteria, memes made from his face, a world that turned cruelty into entertainment. And Aaron, the man who could knock out anyone with a right cross, couldn't knock out that. So he made a decision, the only one that made sense to his soul. He couldn't control the world, but he could control himself. He could teach his son that real strength wasn't about domination, but restraint. That worth wasn't measured in muscles or medals, but in character. He called his manager. "I'm done. You're throwing your career away." "Maybe, but I'm saving something more important." He retired at the peak, walked away from the title eliminator, the money, the spotlight. His trainer thought he'd lost his mind. Other fighters mocked him online. Aaron didn't care. He wasn't fighting for belts anymore. He was fighting for Brandon. He stopped counting calories, ate dinner with his family instead of meal prepping in silence. He started gaining weight, deliberately. Wanted Brandon to see it. Wanted him to know that bodies change, and that was okay. 65 pounds later, the world saw a different man. Softer around the edges, but still carved from discipline. The power was still there, buried beneath calm, compassion, and the kind of control that can't be trained in a ring. He still wore the same small silver medallion from his final fight in Atlantic City. That night, he'd beaten a 3-1 favorite with precision and heart, 6th round TKO. He held the medallion afterward, sweat and blood on his hands, and whispered, "This is it. Time to be a father, not a fighter." Back in Tony's barbershop, 3 minutes into this new match, Blake was unraveling. His punches lost shape. His breathing turned ragged. A desperate hook came screaming toward Aaron's temple. Aaron ducked beneath it with surgical grace. The crowd's energy shifted, cheers fading into confusion. "He's not even trying," someone muttered. Another voice corrected, "No, he's trying not to hurt him." Mrs. Patterson gripped her husband's arm. "Tom, something's not right. That man knows what he's doing." Blake threw another furious combo. Wild, sloppy, desperate. Aaron flowed through it like water. Slip, duck, step. Every motion was an equation solved in real time. Tony froze mid-step. His heart pounded. That footwork, that precision, he'd seen it before. On a poster in a long-gone gym. His mouth fell open. "Oh my God!" Jordan caught it. "What? What is it?" Tony didn't answer. He was staring at Aaron like he'd just seen a ghost. 4 minutes in, Blake's legs were shaking. His arms felt like sandbags. Sweat poured from his hairline. Aaron hadn't been touched once. Not a single clean hit. The teenage boy watching whispered, awestruck, "That's not luck." "What do you mean?" "Look at his feet, look at his timing, that's professional." Mr. Perkins stood from his chair, his deep voice carrying through the room like a sermon. "You're all watching something special. That man's not fighting back because he already won, the moment he chose peace." "Tony, you remember that poster?" Mr. Perkins said softly, not taking his eyes off the man in the ring. "The one from the old gym on 5th Street, maybe 8 years ago?" Tony froze. His hands went to his mouth, disbelief creeping across his face. His voice was a whisper. "No. No way." "What poster?" Jordan asked, glancing between them, confusion twisting into unease. Mr. Perkins pointed toward the ring, his finger trembling slightly. "That's Aaron Foster." Tony shook his head. "No, not just Aaron Foster. He looked back at the man gliding around the ring like a ghost, making every movement look effortless. That's Aaron the Mountain Foster. The name landed like thunder. Silence fell, then gasps, then chaos. People scrambling for their phones. Screens lit up. Wikipedia pages loaded. Old fights played in shaky hands. 40 professional fights, Mr. Perkins said, his voice rising with awe. Never lost, not once. Jordan's face drained of color. You're saying him? The guy who fought in Vegas? The one who retired undefeated? Look for yourself, Tony muttered. Around the shop, eyes flicked between the man in the ring and the screens in their palms. The same footwork, the same composure, the same unshakable calm. Only older now, heavier, but unmistakably him. In the ring, Blake threw another punch, wild, desperate, sloppy. Aaron dipped just enough. The glove cut through the air where his head had been half a second before. The man's breathing didn't even change. 5 minutes. Not a single hit landed. Blake's arms trembled. His chest heaved. Sweat poured down his temples as he stumbled forward, missing again and again. His knees buckled. There was no knockout, no punch, just the quiet collapse of pride. He fell to one knee, gasping, palms pressed against the mat. The crowd had gone silent except for his ragged breaths echoing through the room. Aaron stood tall, gloves up, composed. His shadow fell over Blake, then slowly he extended a hand. Get up. Blake blinked through tears, humiliation burning hotter than exhaustion. He slapped the hand away. Don't. Aaron's eyes softened. No anger, no gloating, just pity. Tony stepped forward. Blake, stop, look around. Why? Blake spat, voice breaking. So everyone can laugh. No, Tony said, kneeling beside him. So you understand who you just fought. I know who he is. A fat old man who got lucky. Tony's jaw tightened. That's not luck. That's Aaron Foster. Undefeated. 40 fights, 0 losses. Blake's eyes darted around as phones appeared in front of him. Screen after screen, showing highlight reels, knockout records, headlines. Aaron the Mountain Foster, undefeated light heavyweight champion, retired 2018. Jordan's voice shook as he showed his phone. He's ranked number 7 in the world before retirement, Blake. That's him. Blake stared at the image. Younger, leaner, sharper, the same eyes, the same jawline, the same calm. His stomach twisted, his lips trembled. No. We mocked him for a week. His voice cracked. I slapped him. From the corner, Mrs. Patterson's voice cut through the heavy silence. No, baby. You didn't slap a fighter. You slapped a man. That's the problem. You thought it was okay because of how he looked. Blake's breath hitched. He looked up at Aaron. Why didn't you tell me? Aaron took off his headgear slowly. His face glistened with sweat, calm and resolute. Because it shouldn't matter. You should have shown respect regardless. Blake's eyes filled again. But you could have destroyed me. One punch. Aaron nodded. Yes. Then why didn't you? Aaron's voice softened to almost a whisper. Because destroying you wasn't the point. The room hung on that silence. He took a breath, then said quietly, 3 years ago, my son tried to kill himself. He was 13, overweight, bullied by kids who decided his body made him worth less. Phones lowered, heads dropped. He survived, barely. His mother found him just in time, and I had to choose. Keep fighting, stay lean, stay famous, or retire, gain weight deliberately. Show him that bodies change, but dignity doesn't. Aaron's voice cracked, not from weakness, but from truth. I needed my son to see that a man ass-worth isn't in his abs or his reflection. It's in his character. Nobody spoke. Even the fluorescent lights seemed to hum quieter. Aaron looked around the room, at the crowd, at Blake, at the mirrors that reflected more shame than pride. So I stopped fighting in the ring and started fighting for something real. Aaron's voice was calm, steady, the weight of 1,000 fights behind it. My worth was never tied to my appearance, he said, looking straight at Blake. I chose my son. I walked away from everything. A title shot, money, recognition. Because teaching him to love himself mattered more than one more win. Blake couldn't find words. His throat tightened as Aaron's voice softened. So when you slapped me last week, when you poured dye on my head and mocked my body, I saw my son. I saw every kid who ever got crushed for not fitting some impossible standard. That's why I didn't hit you back. Blake's voice cracked. You could have just told me. If I told you, Aaron said, you'd have stopped because you were scared, not because you understood. That's not growth. That's survival. This moment, you'll remember this. This is where change begins. Tony stepped forward, his voice filled with quiet reverence. Aaron had a title eliminator lined up. Real money, real fame. He walked away for his son, Mr. Perkins added softly. I was at his last fight, Atlantic City. He was magnificent then, and he has been magnificent every day since, because he chose to become a better man. Blake looked around. Every phone had stopped recording. The crowd was no longer entertained. They were humbled. Jordan knelt beside him. Bro, we all messed up. I don't know how to fix this. Aaron pulled off his gloves and held out his hand. Start by standing up. Blake hesitated, then took it. Aaron lifted him easily, his hand firm, his presence steady. Now apologize, Aaron said quietly. Not to me, to them. You humiliated me in front of everyone. Make your apology mean something. Blake turned, trembling, facing dozens of faces inside and more outside watching the live stream. I was wrong, he said hoarsely. About everything. I saw Aaron's body and made him invisible as a person. I judged him to make myself feel bigger. I was cruel. His chest heaved. And I'm sorry, not because he is a champion, but because he is a human being who deserved respect from the start. I'm sorry to everyone I've ever judged for how they look. The silence that followed was holy. Then softly, Mr. Perkins began clapping. One by one, others joined, not cheering but acknowledging. Aaron placed a steady hand on Blake's shoulder. I accept your apology. Blake broke down, sobbing openly. Aaron pulled him into a brief, grounding hug. You're 19. You made a mistake. What matters is what you do next. When they stepped apart, Blake's voice trembled. Can I ask you something? Why'd you really retire? Aaron's fingers brushed the silver medallion around his neck. My son was bullied for his weight. He tried to end his life. I realized I couldn't teach him that worth comes from character while earning mine through violence. So I stopped. I chose him over everything. Is he okay now? Blake whispered. Aaron nodded faintly. He's alive. He's healing. Some days are harder than others, but he's fighting. And that's what matters. Blake looked down, tears streaking his face. That's why you didn't tell me, because it shouldn't have mattered. Exactly, Aaron said. But I still showed up today, because if I didn't, you might have done this to someone else, someone who couldn't handle it. He looked him dead in the eyes. You lost before you threw the first punch. Not because I'm stronger, but because you didn't see me as human. That's what needed to break. Tony exhaled, voice low. Everyone out. Give them space. The crowd dispersed slowly. Blake turned to leave, but Aaron called out, Blake, one more thing. Blake turned, eyes red. Yeah? My son's home right now. He worries about me. You want to make this right? Yes, anything. Come meet him, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Let him see that people can change, that someone who hurt me chose to do better. That might help him more than you know. Blake nodded, tears falling freely. I'd like that. If he'll have me. He will. Aaron said. Because I'll tell him you meant it. Jordan and Ryan stepped forward awkwardly. Ryan spoke first. Mr. Foster, we're sorry too. We recorded. We laughed. We made it worse. Aaron's eyes softened. You did. So what'll you do differently next time? Jordan answered quietly. Speak up, even when it's uncomfortable. Good, Aaron said. Hold each other accountable. That's real strength. After the others left, only Tony and Mr. Perkins remained. Tony shook his head slowly. 3 years cutting your hair and I never knew. Why didn't you tell me? Aaron smiled faintly. Because I wasn't that man anymore. Tony chuckled. You still are. Aaron shook his head. No, that man would have knocked Blake out in 30 seconds. This one gave him a chance to grow. Mr. Perkins extended his hand. Most impressive thing I've seen in 40 years. And I saw your last fight. Aaron clasped it firmly. Thanks for being here, George. Tony bent under the counter, pulled out a faded old poster. Aaron in his prime, arms raised, championship belt gleaming. I'm hanging this behind the chair. Aaron smiled. A reminder of what? Tony's voice cracked. That champions walk among us. That respect should be the default, not something people earn by proving they're dangerous. Aaron looked at the poster for a long time. That was me. But this is me too. Both matter. Amen, Mr. Perkins murmured. Aaron turned toward the door. Same time in 2 weeks, Tony. Tony smiled. Same time. And Aaron, he paused, emotion thick in his voice. Thank you for reminding us what real strength looks like. Aaron nodded and stepped outside into the golden late afternoon sun. The quiet street glowed around him. Inside, Tony carefully hung the old poster. The image of Aaron the Mountain Foster, undefeated champion, watched over every future haircut, a silent symbol that dignity outlasts dominance, and that choosing peace 41 times is harder than winning 40 fights. Aaron drove home slowly. His hands were steady, his mind clear. He'd done what he came to do. The lesson had landed. At home, the front door flew open. Brandon ran out, arms wide. Dad, are you okay? Did he hurt you? Aaron caught him in a hug, holding him close. I'm fine, son. Not a scratch. Brandon looked up, wide-eyed. Did he hit you at all? Aaron smiled softly. No, not once. Brandon grinned. Not once in 5 minutes? Aaron chuckled, eyes glistening. Not once. The sun dipped lower, casting warm light across father and son. 2 survivors, 2 fighters, both learning that the greatest victories don't happen in rings, but in hearts that choose grace over power. Inside the house, the light from the kitchen was warm, golden, a quiet contrast to the chaos that had unfolded hours earlier. Lisa stood by the counter, arms crossed, worry creasing her face. When Aaron stepped in, shoulders heavy but calm, she dropped the dish towel and crossed the room in seconds. She threw her arms around him. Don't ever do that again. Aaron held her tight, breathing in her scent, the familiar calm of home. I won't need to, he said softly. Lisa pulled back, searching his face. Did it work? Aaron nodded faintly. He learned. He apologized, in front of everyone. Lisa exhaled. Good. Aaron sat down at the kitchen table, exhaustion catching up to him. He cried, Lisa. Real tears. It wasn't just fear, it was shame, the kind that breaks you open. She sat opposite him, hands folded. And how do you feel? Aaron looked at his hands, scarred knuckles resting on polished wood. Sad, mostly. Sad that it took all that humiliation, exposure, for him to see me as human. That this is what it takes sometimes. Their son, Brandon, male, age 14, ethnicity, black, features, smooth dark skin, short coiled hair, round face, Gentle eyes behind glasses, shy posture, dressed in a gray hoodie and shorts, entered quietly, holding a mug of cocoa. "But you showed him, right?" Aaron smiled faintly. "I did. But that's not the victory. The victory is what happens after. Whether he changes or just hides his shame." "You think he will?" Brandon asked. Aaron shrugged. "Tuesday, we'll find out, when he meets you." Brandon's fingers tightened around his mug. "I'm nervous." "That's okay," Aaron said. "I'll be right there." Lisa leaned in. "What did you say to him at the end?" Aaron thought back. "That he lost before he threw the first punch. Not because I'm stronger, but because he couldn't see me as human," Lisa whispered. "That's the truth." Aaron turned to Brandon. "And I told him about you, about what happened, about the bullying." Brandon's voice trembled. "You told them?" "I had to," Aaron said gently, "so they'd understand. Words don't just sting, they stay, they echo." Brandon blinked back tears. "Past tense?" Aaron smiled. "Past tense. You're healing, you're strong." Lisa reached for Aaron's hand. "You did good today." "We'll see," Aaron murmured. "Change takes time." That night, Aaron lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Blake's face replayed in his mind, confusion melting into horror, then remorse. Around midnight, his phone buzzed. A text from Tony. "Videos at 200,000 views, you're trending. People are calling you a hero." Aaron sighed, typing back. "Not a hero, just a father trying to do right." He checked on Brandon, asleep, peaceful, safe. That was the only victory that mattered. The rest, the fame, the viral talk, was noise. His son's healing was the win. He touched the old medallion around his neck. 40 fights, 40 wins. But tonight's wasn't number 41 in the ring. It was in life. Tuesday evening, nervous energy filled the living room. At 5:55, Blake arrived. Suit jacket, trembling hands, a bouquet of lilies, and a folded handwritten letter. Jordan and Ryan stood behind him, uncertain but sincere. Lisa opened the door. Her gaze was sharp, protective. "Mrs. Foster," Blake said quietly, "I'm the one who disrespected your husband." "I know," she replied evenly. "I saw the videos." Blake swallowed. "These are for you. And this," he held out a small box wrapped in paper, "for Brandon." Lisa took the flowers. "Come in. But if you disrespect my family and my house, I'll throw you out myself." "Yes, ma'am," Blake said, voice trembling. Inside, Brandon sat on the couch, nervous but composed. Aaron stood nearby, arms folded. Blake stepped forward, voice breaking. "Hi, I'm Blake. I'm the person who hurt your dad." Brandon looked at him for a long moment. "I know," he said quietly. "I watched everything." The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was sacred. The kind that happens right before forgiveness is tested. Brandon looked at Blake across the living room, the silence heavy with unspoken history. Then Blake swallowed hard. "Then you know I was wrong about everything." His voice trembled. "I'm really sorry, not just for what I did to your dad, but for being the kind of person who probably hurt you too." Brandon glanced toward Aaron, who gave a quiet nod. Brandon stood up, extended his hand. "I'm Brandon." Blake hesitated, then shook it, firm, grateful. "Thank you for letting me come." They all sat down. The first few minutes were stiff, filled with nervous smiles and careful words. Then Blake asked about school, and Brandon mentioned a video game. Blake's face lit up. "Wait, you play that too? I've been stuck on level 12 for days." Brandon grinned. "You're using the wrong route. There's a side passage." Blake's jaw dropped. "There's a side passage?" Just like that, the ice broke. They laughed, talked strategies, swapped YouTube tips. Jordan and Ryan joined in. Lisa brought cookies, and soon the awkwardness melted into something real. By dinner, Blake's old mask was gone. He wasn't trying to perform. He listened. He laughed for the right reasons. When they finished eating, Brandon helped clear plates. His voice was quiet when he asked, "Can I ask you something?" "Anything," Blake said. "Why'd you do it? Why'd you pick on my dad?" Blake's eyes fell to the floor. "Honestly, I'm new here. Didn't know anybody. I just wanted to matter, to be seen. I thought if I made people laugh, they'd like me." Brandon asked softly, "Did they?" "For 5 minutes," Blake said bitterly. "Then they moved on. So I went further, meaner, louder, until this." He shook his head. "It's exhausting. Your dad showed me that it's all hollow." Brandon nodded slowly. "Kids used to film me eating lunch," he said quietly. "They'd post it online with captions like, 'Hippo eats alone.' Made me feel less than human." Blake's face crumpled. "I did the same thing to your dad. Filmed him, mocked him, made him a joke. I'm so sorry." He looked at Aaron. "You could have hurt me Saturday, knocked me out cold." Aaron met his gaze. "That wouldn't have taught you anything." Blake nodded. "I get that now. You chose something harder." Brandon smiled faintly. "That's what he always says. Real strength is choosing peace." When Blake stood to leave, he turned to Aaron. "Can I come back? Not to apologize, just to hang out, maybe learn from you?" Aaron nodded. "You're welcome anytime. But remember, transformation isn't one apology. It's 1,000 small choices after. Show me through your actions." Blake's eyes steadied. "I will." And he did. In the days that followed, Blake deleted every cruel post and uploaded a video apology. Raw, honest, asking people to stop sharing the mockery. His followers dropped from 4,000 to 600. He didn't care. He started volunteering at the rec center, helping younger kids with homework. When he saw a chubby boy getting picked on, he stood up for him. No cameras, no audience, just doing the right thing. Jordan and Ryan changed too. When classmates mocked a girl's looks, they intervened. It cost them friends, but earned them something better: self-respect. The story spread far beyond Mitchell Avenue. National news called it the fighter who chose peace. Parenting blogs praised Aaron's sacrifice. Anti-bullying organizations shared his speech. Invitations poured in for interviews, all declined. Aaron wasn't chasing headlines. He was living a fate tale, one written not by destiny, but by the choices that shape it. 2 weeks later, Aaron walked into Tony's barbershop. The bell jingled. The room went quiet. Then someone clapped. One, then two, then everyone. Aaron raised his hands. "Please, I just need a haircut." Laughter rippled. The air was lighter now. Blake was there too. Not boasting, not filming, just helping Mr. Perkins to a chair. When Blake saw Aaron, he smiled. "Hey, Mr. Foster." "Hey, Blake, how you been?" "Better. Trying to be better every day." Behind Tony's chair hung the old fight poster, but beneath it, a new line had been printed in bold black letters. "Real strength isn't being undefeated in 40 fights. It's choosing peace 41 times." Aaron chuckled. "Tony, you didn't have to." Tony grinned. "I did. People forget easy. We need reminders." As Tony trimmed his hair, Aaron looked around. Mrs. Patterson laughed softly with her husband. The same teenage boy who once mocked Aaron swept the floor with quiet pride. Blake was talking gently to an elderly customer. Everything looked the same mirrors, same clippers, but everything felt different. The room carried a new kind of respect. When the cut was done, Blake approached again. "Mr. Foster, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "That quote about choosing peace 41 times being harder than winning 40 fights, did you mean it?" Aaron looked at him, really looked. "Every word. Winning fights is about skill. But choosing peace when you have the power to destroy someone, that's character." That's who you decide to be. Blake nodded, eyes wet. I want that. That kind of strength. Then build it, Aaron said. One choice at a time. Blake smiled. Brandon's been helping me, teaching me how to just be okay with myself. Aaron grinned. Good. Keep learning from him. As Aaron turned to leave, Blake called out, Mr. Foster! Aaron paused. Thank you for not giving up on me, for teaching me instead of destroying me. Aaron smiled. Proud, peaceful. That's what real strength looks like. Remember it. Pass it on. Outside, the world went on. Cars, kids, laughter. But inside Tony's barbershop, something sacred lingered. A lesson. A fate tale. The clippers hummed softly as Tony worked on the next customer. On the wall, the poster gleamed. Champions walk among us, not always in gloves or titles, but in patience, compassion, and restraint. The ones who choose peace 41 times when violence would be easier. That's real strength. That's real victory. That's what it means to be undefeated, in the ways that truly matter.